All right, let's discuss the latest players the Niners have re-signed. Can you bring us through this? Can you give us a rundown?
Yeah, so they re-signed Jeff Wilson Jr. They re-signed Willis, right? And then they re-signed Dontae Johnson. So to me, these are three players that, I mean, it's not going to blow your skirt back by any means, but these are three players that I think are pretty vital to the success of the 49ers. I was talking last night about Jeff Wilson Jr. and how I was hoping that they would bring him back, but it seemed like they kind of fell out of love with him by not using him last year. I think by signing him, that tells me that maybe it was less about them falling out of love and maybe he was just more injured and came back too early. And that's the way that things played out for him. But for me, to like, nobody's really talking about it, but this was the best day of free agency for the 49ers. Getting those three guys back. And again, not big name guys, but you saw what Johnson did for this team down the stretch. Week 18, played nickel corner, outside corner, safety, all in one game. That versatility is absolutely huge at a backup spot. He can also play a little bit of special teams. You've got Jeff Wilson Jr., who really, I thought going into the season was going to lead the team in overall yards. I was wrong, obviously, but I really believe in his talent that much. Very, very inexpensive. And the fact that they're going to lose Key and they've lost some other, big pieces along the line, I think bringing back Willis is a big deal. This is a guy that showed some flashes, got suspended for PEDs, came back, was in and out of the lineup with injury. But I think it's certainly a depth piece that you've got to have. And let's not forget, he was the reason that they beat Green Bay. He was the MVP of that game. That's a huge deal. So I think today, flying under the radar while everybody's still pissed about Jimmy, maybe not signing the big name guys, this was a very key moment in keeping the success of the 49ers and that depth on this team going forward. And I actually like what they did today quite a bit.
Well, I mean, Dontae Johnson is now their starting nickelback, straight up. They could think it's Emmanuel Mosley or Diamador Lenore, but nah, it's not. It's Dontae. Last year, when they were in a pinch and K'Wan Williams couldn't go, it was Dontae because he's money in the run game. He's good enough in coverage. Maybe they'll do some type of timeshare at nickel where like on first and second down, you have Dontae and on third down, you have more of a cover specialist like Diamador. But this guy's going to play. He's always really important for them. One of the most underrated players in the team. I've taken lots of shots. I mean, like snarky little jabs at him. I will never again. Dontae, you're important. That's a good signing. The running back, Jeff Wilson Jr., he led the team in touchdowns in 2020. He was just hurt most of last year. He came back midseason without training camp or anything like that. He's a good player. Maybe if they had a quarterback who would throw more than 10 yards down the field and the defense wasn't freaking this compressed, he'd have some space to run. I like it. No reason not to bring him back, especially I'm sure he was cheap. And then who was the last one?
Jordan Willis.
Yeah, I like Jordan Willis a lot. I think he's the kind of guy that Chris Kasarik could turn into a guy who gets 8 sacks a year. I think he could.
Still, though, every time I say that guy's name, I say the opposite every time.
I don't know why I say Kasarik, but I said Zendaya earlier today. Everyone's like, it's Zendaya. I'm like, it looks like it rhymes with Maya. But I'm supposed to know that because I'm from Oakland. She's from Oakland. Sorry, Zendaya. I didn't know. My bad. Anyway, Jordan Willis. What?
I said my B.
Yeah, my bad. Jordan Willis, I like that signing a lot. These are nice moves. I mean, it's nice to bring back these guys, but it seems kind of like the Niners were like, look, we don't really care about you, but we'll give you these very low deals. And if you can get anything better, go for it. And they're like, we couldn't, but we'll try again next year. So, that's the Niner. I like Jeff Wilson Jr. I think these are nice additions that the rest of the league just doesn't really see yet. But what's up with Ross Dwelley yet, though? What's up with Ross Dwelley, though?
But Grant, I think legit that's been their plan this whole offseason. I think it was a week, maybe 2 ago when free agency started. This is what I laid out as their plan. It seemed to be that they're willing to let literally every one of their free agents go talk to other teams, come back to them and say, hey, I've got this deal in hand. And the 49ers are going, yeah, we're not going to match that. You can go ahead and go. They are fine letting every single one of them walk. And I got to be honest, I was too. So I understand where they're coming from. I just hope that they would replace some of these guys with some big signings, and that hasn't really happened either. So, we'll see how it plays out. But ultimately, that seems to be their plan with all their free agents. Let them go find something. If you can get a better deal elsewhere, by all means, go there, and we'll figure it out from there. We're not too worried about it.
It's crazy. Like guys like K'Wan Williams and Tom Compton left for nothing. Like the Broncos poached them for very little. The Niners like, sorry, we have $800,000 for you. And
Yeah, seriously,
what's up with Tart? Like I'm sure the same $800,000 offer is on the table for, hey man, if you got nothing, come back. And he's waiting. And it seems like he probably hasn't gotten it yet. And despite all of his advocates in 49ers media, it ain't working, apparently. So he might come back, in which case, good. They need him. I don't understand why he's not back already. But maybe they just feel like, dude, you're going to come back on our terms. We'll see.
Yeah, unless they're planning on drafting one. I mean, there are some really good safeties that should be there in the second round if that's the route they decide to take. But
I'm skeptical because they haven't drafted a DB before round 3 since 2015, and they have major needs in both trenches. And they're a trench building type of team. So we'll see. But good signings. Nice. A+. This takes my Niners free agency grade from a freaking D to probably an A- because you got Jeff Wilson Jr. back. I mean, who cares?
If Dwelly was here, D A+.
Who cares if the Niners haven't traded Jimmy Garoppolo and gotten a pick for him and freed up cap space and there's total confusion in the locker room about who the quarterback is? They got Jeff Wilson Jr. So I like that.
If they had Dwelly, would it be an A+?
A++. But hey, who's to say he's not coming back? And Tart on the same day. It could happen. That Niner guy says since John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have been here, the Niners have made such a point to control the narrative. It is very frustrating. F narrative, win games. Hope they back Trey behind the scenes. We'll see, right? I feel like Jed is all about controlling the narrative. He's very into that. And he's got a lot of the journalists and fans seeing things from his perspective. I had people explaining to me all day how Eddie wasn't that much better than Jed and that Eddie's success was a product of no salary cap. And that it's like, dude, what has Jed done to you, man? How brainwashed are you? It's crazy. I'm like, I don't want to argue and get mad with people like that on Twitter because I honestly feel bad. Literally, it's like, wow, man, this is an abusive relationship. Look what they've done to you. Look what they've done to you.
It is true though. You do hear that a lot. Like, oh well, it's non-salary cap era. Like, is it really that impressive? Like, oh,
dude, he won a Super Bowl in the salary cap era, Eddie.
The first year of it.
You tell me he wouldn't have figured it out if he'd gotten more than 6 or 7 years. Like, the Yorks have had 21 years, and as good as they are maneuvering the cap, like it's so freaking hard. No Super Bowls, but they've come close.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the recent Javon Kinlaw interview? Says Jeffrey. Oh, there was a recent.
I haven't watched it. I think he went on with Brad Graham on his channel.
Oh, nice.
I haven't seen it.
That's what's up. Javon Kinlaw is hella funny. I got to see that. I don't know. See, to me, like what was cool about having Jimmy Ward is he's 30. He's had standing. Like there's nothing insecure about Jimmy Ward. But Javon Kinlaw, it's like, how do you not ask him? Like, so you haven't done anything in the NFL. Like, I mean, with Jimmy Ward is more like, well, you proved us all wrong. You got your big contract. Like life is good. And he could just kind of sit there being like, you doubted me, didn't you, motherfucker? Like, oh, sorry. But with Kinlaw, it's like, how's your knee?
Yeah. How's your knee, yeah?
How's your knee? Is it good?
The thing about Kinlaw is, as a person, how can you not root for this guy? I mean, this is a guy that was living in his car. You know what I mean? Like, this is, that's, you root for somebody like this. This is a story you root for, but it's hard not to look past 0 training camps, hasn't shown much of anything, couple little flashes and a major knee injury for a big guy. I'm rooting for you, Javon, but I don't trust it. I don't.
Kless says, all I know is if Jimmy is a starter week 1, it will be easy season for me because I won't be watching again. You guys rule. Keep up the F-bombs.
Just come here for the post-game shows so that, you can still show love to Grant and laugh with him.
Is it possible what the Niners will do is they'll cut Jimmy right before the season and they'll be like, look, we tried. Jimmy kind of messed everything up with his surgery. Not saying he meant to, but it's just kind of how it went. We did the best we could, but we need to cut him now because we have to clear this cap space for $30 million a year for Debo and $35 million a year for Bosa. Sorry. I mean, they could spin it that way. Like, we tried. It wasn't really our fault. Now we have to cut him. I mean, they could do that.
I don't think that the 49ers are this type of organization, but I kind of want them to have a little bit of sass in them. I think it would be hilarious to cut Jimmy right before the season and be like, good luck, go find a backup job somewhere else. Guess what? You passed a physical. You don't get the $7.5 million. Go play backup for the Patriots. You seem to love them an awful lot. I think that would be fantastic. I don't think they'll do it, but I would love it.
I kind of like that too. Ricky says 9 Lives returning the best offseason move ever. Yeah, man, Jimmy 9 Lives. That's a good name for him. Jimmy 2 picks, Jimmy 9 Lives.
It's Jimmy 10 lives, man. This guy's insane. He gets extra lives.
Dr. Robert Anthony Jr. says AFC loaded with quarterbacks, wide receivers, edges.
Keep them over
there. They're loaded with contenders.
There's a lot of teams going all in the AFC, and there's going to be some disappointment, let me tell you.
49ers daddy says Lance is the NFL's best kept secret. Even the Niners don't know the truth yet. I like that. That's true.